Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I'm holding two newspapers. This is Sunday Nation. Oparanya grilled for 6 hours over graft. You realize that the headline has the word graft. And I'm also having this one, Oparanya a fix of 1.3 billion graft probe. This is after these two headlines are running one thing about the story about Oparanya. Number two, the two headlines have the word graft. And the editors really successfully made today, Thursday agenda be about Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya. And so one question that is emerging is about this. The story is coming after the EACC officials raided Nairobi and the rural homes of the former Kakamega governor, Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, in connection to some corruption allegations. Actually, they are talking about, they're actually accusing the former Kakamega governor of embezzling 1.3 billion using some proxies, or rather flouting procurement procedures at the county. And so Oparanya was allegedly charged for that. That is what the papers are saying. Immediately Oparanya walked out of EACC offices after the 6 hours grilling. The Azimio la Umoja officials, or rather the Azimio la Umoja leaders, were camping around that place waiting to receive him. And he clarified and he said that they are looking for some guns. There were some guns charged against him. Looking for some guns in his home, number one. Number two, that at one point he was arrested around Busia Road, the Busia-Bungoma Road, and during the Mandamano, and they're saying that they had been confiscating his phone. So they also made a follow-up around his phone. And critically, intentionally, Oparanya decided to dodge the question about the graft. Actually, he did not comment about it. However, the Azimio leaders blew a political card and argued what would be the reason behind the governor being sought after by the current administration at the time the talks are going on, and they are saying that government is backstabbing them in the respect to the current talks that are going on. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask a very candid question at this moment. Why would you think that the current administration will sought after Kakamega governor? But then I will want to draw in a very interesting context. The sorting after of, the sort out of Oparanya is coming at a time when William Ruto is planning for grand tour of the Western region. Then what is the correlation? I know very well, and I understand that the EACC does not work with President William Ruto's schedule, but it's not just a mere coincidence that Oparanya is being pushed to the dock at a time when William Ruto is planning to visit Western Kenya. What are the cards on table? Oparanya is not just any other leader in Azimio la Umoja. And guys, I want to say some apologies. I'm shooting at home. Na huku kuna some mbuzi and sheep, so you'll hear a lot of ambience, the natural sound, and that one you can't avoid. And so what I'm saying here is that EACC does not work with President William Ruto's schedule. That's how things are. But in politics, it's not about doing the right thing. It's about what is convenient. Was it politically convenient? What was the political convenience behind Oparanya being sought by the state at the time William Ruto is heading to the Western? However, whichever angle you may want to look at it, you cannot rub out the fact that that coincidence had some political implications, or rather there was something that was to be intended. There was an intended objective of that arrest. Ladies and gentlemen, before I give my angle, I know most of you have been following this story. What are you seeing? Oparanya is not just a mere leader in Azimio la Umoja, is the deputy party leader of ODM party, and is also one of the Azimio principals. And also a leader from the Western region. What exactly is coming out now? I want us to look at this critically, and there are some 4 probabilities I'm seeing what the state is after. Number one of the things I cannot deny, William Ruto knowingly orchestrated the troubles that the EACC raid. You know, whether corruption case is there or not, I cannot substantiate or deny because I'm not an investigator. But one thing I do know here is that for a raid in the house of a high-profile leader like Oparanya to happen, there must be something. You know, the state has always found a way to wink, and I saw Azimio la Umoja drawing daggers and now saying, you know, we will even pull out of the talks if this is what is happening. And the same twists have always been applied in the past. When the talks were starting, that's why there was a raid in Jubilee Party, and the whole Jubilee Party then was taking shape when the first batch of the talks were going on. And Azimio even threatened that we will not work, we will not be in that bipartisan talks if the raid on the political parties will still go on. There is something that William Ruto wants to achieve. Number one, William Ruto would be doing this to vilify Oparanya in the Western region. And this is it. Both the case, politically, you'll look at it as a political raid, but it's also talking about corruption. Could be true that maybe there's some corruption case. Of course, that one you can't deny. There's some corruption case against Oparanya. But then this is a card that, this is a thread that can be pulled at this critical moment to vilify and suppress, vilify Oparanya in the Western region. Why am I saying? I'm saying this because one of the reactions that you would expect from William Ruto when he goes there in Kakamega, they will make this Oparanya issue be an issue on matters of on matters of corruption, or they will make look as if because they're looking at Oparanya in Western region, in Kakamega or rather in Western region, he's one of the focal persons that Raila Odinga have in that place. And they will use this so that when William Ruto goes to Kakamega or any other place, will say that I am not going to protect corrupt leaders. As we speak, there was one corruption scandal that has been taking shape here, the Rift Valley one, the education saga and all that. And ODM had threatened or had even issued a statement to calling for the probe of corruption of that education, that scandal against Mandago. Now, what are you going to do? Now that this has emerged, it has been floated. It's now going to be a discussion in the corridors. I am telling you, wait the next day, or even by the time I'm shooting, Kenya Kwanza leaders are going to ask at ODM to take and call and condemn the corruption that one of high-profile leaders is facing in the name of Oparanya, because it's a bit of some balancing act. So this has been floated. Maybe this is a file that has been there. Now that file has been dragged in the limelight for balancing act, to bring some balancing act. The same measure ODM has emotionally and asked for the probe of that Finland education saga, they will demand this one to be. And you will then hear William Ruto going to the Mount Kenya, going to Kakamega and saying, I am not going to defend corrupt leaders. To that extent, he will have then emerged as a person crusading corruption. Now, if ODM and Azimio la Umoja will successfully paint the image of William Ruto as a man on a political witch hunt, then William Ruto might go to Western Kenya and absolve after creating a crisis and arousing emotions about Oparanya. William Ruto will then rush to Kakamega and get to Kakamega during that tour and absolve himself by saying that he will not allow the maybe such to be used against leaders after gauging the political clout of Oparanya. Now, this has emerged also at a time, you see Oparanya, you see Mudavadi and Wetangula are now like the critical vocal leaders around William Ruto. William Ruto could have tried a strategy to woodwink Oparanya to go on his side, and maybe Oparanya declined. And after declining, this is one of the tools available. There is a photo that emerged, and I'm going to share that photo in my next video. And one of the tools that can successfully be used to wink leaders so that they can politically be leaning is the EACC. And I'm telling you, this has been used against, this was tried against, the criminal justice system was used against Mwangi Weria, but it couldn't go successfully. So William Ruto has made it an agenda that Oparanya is someone now they want to create some clout about. And it's then going to test, and you know, this is what it means. Huh? If Oparanya goes through a trouble and it takes a political angle, then it will fall on the doorstep of Musalia Mudavadi. It will then emerge as something like a Western war. William Ruto has always caused it something here, and I am just telling you this, and take this to bank. Where this story has been taken and has been ballooned and amplified is, it's true, governors are facing corruption cases. They're not clean. Even my former governor in Siaya has been facing some of these charges that have been around in those corridors of the courts. But some are normally activated or they are triggered at critical moment because William Ruto knows very well he's heading to Western Kenya. But there is nothing tangible. You know, there is nothing tangible. Now, he's going to create a conversation, and I'm telling you, those who are going to speak during that meeting in Western are going to speak more about Oparanya. They will either be defending Oparanya or vilifying Oparanya. He's creating a diversionary agenda around Oparanya, because immediately Ruto comes out of that trip, all those leaders with their in their wisdom or lack of the same will be taking time to talk about Oparanya. And that's Ruto, that's how Ruto is going to carry his day. So I wish they get the trick early and put Russia to the corner and avoid these issues. Thank you.